question is, what are you willing to do to keep from creating too many ordinances, since we already have so many old and out-of-date ordinances that are no longer enforced?
When I was on council before, there was supposed to be a city review committee going through, looking at all the ordinances in Commerce City to make sure there were no duplications of ordinances, and old, outdated ordinances that didn't apply anymore were supposed to be dropped. This is something that should be brought to City Council before an ordinance gets there, that has been reviewed, it's been checked on by all of the staff to make sure we are not duplicating ordinances, and we aren't trying to reinvent the wheel to say to do the same thing just in a different way to affect a different person. A lot of times that's what the outcome is. You just want to affect one person with this one ordinance, so you reword it just enough to bring it forward to City Council. This is something that City Council has to stop at the staff level.
Mr. Douglas?
That's a good question. On the table for a while has been the 6-inch or 5-inch weed rule. As far as changing those ordinances, that's been an issue on and off the table at city council meetings. You know, ordinances are pretty much, if you look at for safety in the city, how that's going to affect the community in the whole, and keep the ones that make sense. And some things are going to be added. We have a new area up north. I mean, we had an ordinance for that. There's certain sections of the city that they want to, it's mixed neighborhoods. You're going to have to, when those become one as far as industrial, you're going to have different rulings there. So it's always going to be an issue for ordinance, you know, good or bad. It's what's going to make sense, and so people, the citizens of Commerce City will understand. Thank you.
Mr. Hahn?
What I would hope and expect is, in being a council person at large, that as people, the citizens of Commerce City, see an ordinance that affects them inadvertently, that they would communicate with me those ordinances that are outdated or not applicable or maybe too harsh. And then at that point, what I would do is research that issue, bring it together with the fellow council people, address city staff, get in and fine-tune an ordinance or eliminate an ordinance, however would best suit the people, and actually bring a more common sense approach when we start an ordinance or complete an ordinance, whenever we're in reviewing them.
Mr. McEldowney?
It's our job as a council to ask the what abouts. What about this? What about that? And so as each matter comes before us, it's critical that we take the time to ask those questions. I think it's also important that we have a process that ensures that as our citizens identify an issue with an ordinance, that they are comfortable bringing that forward to their ward representative, to their at-large representative, or to somebody on staff, and that we do take serious those issues that they raise, and that we do invest time in looking at the issues that they've raised. So I think it's twofold. It's a matter of making sure that we really scrutinize those new ordinances that are being raised and that we're considering to put in place. And for those issues that are surfaced about ordinances that are already in place, that we dedicate a portion of our time to continually looking at how we can fine-tune and improve those to reduce issues and improve the city as a whole.
Mr. Romine?
Yes, there are a great deal of ordinances on the books right now that don't belong there. And my issue is not so much with the ordinances that are there, it's the fact of the selective enforcement of the ordinances that are there. That's been a big problem out here in Commerce City. There's a great deal of people who have been infringed upon horribly because of one certain ordinance that someone was forced on them. Like the other day I was talking about the sign code. The sign code in Commerce City with New Lands Management is 38 pages long. If we can't put down in 6 pages what needs to be said, we don't need to have it at all. We don't need to overdo and lawyerize everything. If it's good, it's good. If it's bad, it's bad. Simple.